The 2023 F-Class National Long Range event wrapped up. I'm going to give you a detailed tour of what I shot, kind of what I saw, what happened, and some of the other highlights that went along with it. So here you go. Let's take a look. The mid-range event obviously couldn't have gone any better for me. I was very fortunate to win it. I was super excited. The team event was on Wednesday, and then Thursday we jumped into the long range event, which is obviously at 1,000 yards instead of 600, so it's definitely more challenging. And I was still on this high, and I'm going to kind of explain what happened, but I was still feeling really good. I felt like the gun was shooting great. I had a day off. I'd only been coaching on team day. I wasn't shooting, so I'd had some time to kind of wait a little bit. And I was really excited for long range because I felt like a lot of things were clicking for me. And like if you're feeling like that, then you're obviously excited about getting started. So the conditions had definitely changed. We shot Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in the mid range. It was a fair amount windier, a little bit cooler. The team day was not horrible, and then by Thursday it had definitely slacked off. It was not nearly as windy. It was a little hotter, but still not easy by any means. And so, I was feeling good, but obviously I was nervous, right? Like there's a certain amount of pressure no matter what that, I had just won mid range. All these people kept saying, "Oh, now you got to win long range. You got to win long range." And people put stuff in your head, and sometimes it's hard to shake that. But I was trying to do my best. So I got down, and I'm going to give you a kind of a walkthrough of what happened on my first relay, and after that here. This was match one, and it was rough. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I dropped 9 points, and it really wasn't that difficult of a condition. I blew it. Like mentally, it just sunk me. I know I was thinking about a lot of the wrong things going into this, and I was still on a high and stuff, and in my head, I thought that the condition was better than it was. I think I kind of talked myself into it. I rushed into it. I didn't sit on the gun at all. I didn't wait. They called begin fire, and other people were shooting, and I jumped in, and you can see my sighters weren't horrible. I mean, I went X1010X out on the last 4 sighters, shot an X1 on, and then I mean the wheels just came off the train. Shot a couple 9s, waited, shot a couple more 9s, waited, shot the 10, more 9s. I mean, I dropped 8 out of the 10 first shots, and like my head was spinning. Like I just couldn't find it, couldn't catch it. Nothing was looking right. Like the whole thing was just a mess, and it's hard, like it's one thing to say, well, the conditions were rough and I wasn't seeing it. The conditions weren't that hard. And I mean, there was a lot of people clean 99, 98. Like it wasn't supposed to be this hard. And I made it way harder than it should have been. And that's 100% on me. I remember getting up from this thinking, well, you can't take anything away from me. I won mid-range, like whatever happens in long range is going to happen. But it definitely sucked. Like, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super bummed that I hadn't had a better start. I mean, I definitely tripped out of the gate here. And when I looked at, it was a little bit later, but by the time they got all of match 1 posted, I did go take a look because I honestly wanted to know how bad it was. And I will tell you that out of the, I think it was 80 or 90 high masters, I was literally 3rd from the bottom. There was countless masters, sharpshooters, marksmen above me. Out of the 140, I think it's like 130, 140 open competitors, I was somewhere in the low hundreds, around 110 or something. Like really bad, really low, and definitely didn't reflect what I knew I could have done. And it was tough to get up from that. It was really tough. I had to go to the pits after this, and I'm probably glad that I went to the pits because it gave me time to really reflect. And I just sat there thinking, well, that's okay. I kept thinking about mid range and how I had been behind, and all I had to do was clean it and leave it up to everybody else. So I just told myself, you know what? I'm done feeling sorry for myself on this first relay. Sure, I tripped out of the gate, and I really hurt any chance. Like, you drop 9 points, and then you see everybody else cleaning it or dropping one. You've all but given up any chance of winning, and that was okay, because then all I told myself is, I'm just gonna climb. Like, I got nowhere to go but up, and I can do this. Like, it's just one match. What do I have to lose? So we came out of the pits. Let me show you how that fared. This definitely felt a lot better. So come out of the pits, get ready to shoot. And I felt a lot more, I don't know, calm, collected, I guess. I told myself, no matter what, just be patient, wait for a condition that you like. Basically shoot my game. And I also told myself I wasn't going to pay attention to scores going forward. I knew where I sat after that last one, and I guess here's the thing. I know you can say, well, you don't know that you couldn't win. And that's true. If I were to shoot 7 more cleans, there's always a chance that I could have won. But I think any improvement, at least dramatic improvement, would have been a win for me. And I just felt like this was a great start. It felt good. I shot the way I was shooting during the week. It was what I wanted to do, and that's what's important to me. And this was our back-to-back shooting, so I shot this, then the guy I was shooting with, who happened to be my friend Mike, he was shooting, and then I shot again, and this was my second one. So I felt really good. Again, same thing, shot the same way I shot the first one. I actually looked for the same condition. It felt very good. I dropped 2 here. So on the second 2 matches, I only dropped 3 points. I don't know how I shook out on the day. I honestly didn't really look, but I knew I had to have moved up from where I started after the first match because, I felt like dropping 1 and dropping 2 was pretty darn good. And then that's what mattered to me. So that gave me a lot of confidence going into Friday that, that I don't know, that I was doing the right things for the right reasons. And I knew that I wasn't really going to be in any kind of contender status, but I was okay with that. Like, more than I've ever been, I guess. I just felt like it was okay. So went to bed, woke up the next day. Let's see how that went. Here is Friday, first match. I was shooting with a really cool guy, Jim Fowler, and just there's so many good people in this sport, and it's funny because for as many big matches as I've shot, there's still a ton of people who I know but have never shot with, and Jim happens to be one of those guys. So I was actually really happy I got to shoot with him, and a really good, genuine guy to shoot with. So anyway, I felt really good again. I was looking and I was telling myself, okay, I shot a 99, I shot a 98, now I shot a 99 the next day. Like, this is more what I expected, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed to tell myself that things were going to be okay, no matter what the score was, because I was shooting for the right reasons. I wasn't shooting, defensively. I wasn't shooting to not lose or to be on the bottom. I was just shooting to shoot my game, and still the same patience that I had shown in the other ones, waiting for conditions. Like, it just felt right, and I was really happy. Like, honestly, I was just really pretty happy with myself here. Shot the next one, same thing. Like, do I wish they had been clean? Well, of course I do. I mean, who doesn't? And they were, really close 9s, but it doesn't matter. They're still 9s, but good X count here. 9 wasn't great, but 12 here was good. And, it just, again, now I was 4 matches in. So 4 out of my 5 matches, I was shooting my game. This just helps reinforce that if you're doing things for the right reason and you're in the right headspace, then the right things happen. And, is that hindsight, being that I tripped on the first match? Yeah, probably, but that's okay. In fact, funny story. I talked to another guy who was national champion, and he goes, "Oh, it was later on the day before, or maybe it was Friday. I don't know. It was either the end of Thursday, beginning of Friday. But anyway, I ran into him and we were talking, and he goes, "Hey, how'd yesterday go, or how'd earlier today go?" I can't remember what it was, but I said, "Wow, the first match, boy, I really stumbled and just, my mind was in the wrong place." And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I didn't want to say anything." He goes, "But I was pretty sure you were going to have a rough first match." He goes, "It's hard not to, He goes, "I've done it. Everybody's done it. It's." You're still in this euphoria and this and that. So anyway, it was pretty cool that he took the time to come and talk to me about it. But bottom line is, this was a great second score match too. Good X count. Again, all I knew is that I had to be working my way up. I had no idea where I was, and it really didn't matter. Last one, I stumbled a little bit. It was trickier for me. I don't know why. There were still a lot of really great scores shot. 5 is definitely not what, what the average was shooting. So I was definitely below average on this. And looking at that in hindsight, I know that now. But I even knew shooting 195, the conditions didn't warrant dropping 5 points. I don't know that I don't know that it was, cleanable, let's say. I mean, there certainly were people who did it, but for me, I think I looked at it in hindsight and said, well, it really should have been like a couple points at most. There were just some dumb mistakes that I made. I chased out a couple of those 9s and, just stuff that happens. But it wasn't horrible. It was a learning moment. And I ended the day feeling pretty darn good. Let's, this was Friday. And then we were going to be rolling into Saturday, which is the team event. And then Sunday was the last day of individual. Now, look, I don't have any footage of the team event, and I don't have any scores. We didn't do great. I mean, we had some good scores. We had some bad scores. We finished, lower on the chart than we wanted. And that's not why I don't have footage. I just... sometimes when you're out there shooting, you just don't think about shooting footage. But here's the thing. At the end of the team event, it was just a nice day. It was relaxing. We had fun. We shot as a team. And that's just how it went. But going into the last day, I just told myself, there's 2 matches left. Let me just do my best. And then I'll see how it shakes out. Again, anything from after match 1 where I was 107th in the standing, anything had to be an improvement. And I really just wanted to see how far up the line I could work my way back up, because that is really, at least for me, it shows what I've learned or how I've improved as a competitor. If I can pull myself together, not worry about the scores, just shoot my game and see what happens. So let's take a look here. This was a pretty fun match 1. We shot first. We were on relay 1, and it was a kind of a switching headwind. It was tricky but shootable. There were definitely cleans on this one, and 199.11. I think after I looked later, it was probably like 10th place. I can't remember, something like that. Like, it wasn't that high up as you would think, but it was still good for me. Like, I walked away from it going, okay, like, I'm really happy with this. I shot it the way I wanted to. I had the patience when I needed to. Again, that was my goal. My goal wasn't to win at this point. My goal was to approach a match the way that I wanted to do it, be happy with how I shot. The score, as Eric says, is not always indicative of how you shoot. You can shoot well and still have a bad score. In this particular case, I shot well and had a good score. So that was a win-win for me. And then we went to the pits for 2 relays, for 2 sets of relays. So that was, 2.5 hours. And then we come out of the pits to shoot last. And here's where it is. And I've got it just barely covered up there. Sorry about that. It's a 196 with 8. It wasn't, it certainly wasn't the worst way I could have ended the match. It certainly wasn't the best. This was a pretty shootable condition, and this would be one of those situations where my score does sort of reflect how I shot. I was not happy with how I approached this. I'll be honest, I think I was getting just a little bit tired, fatigued, who knows, but I just couldn't pull it together. I shot in some conditions that I didn't want to. In fact, if you look here, my scorekeeper was kind enough to do some marking for me. You can see right 9, right high 9, right high 9, low right 9. All 4 9s were clearly the same mistake. And it means I wasn't learning something along the way if I was making that same mistake. And I'm trying to remember here, but in my head, I'm pretty sure those are all upwind 9s from the condition that I was shooting. I'm pretty sure I was in a right to left, and clearly just wasn't seeing the let ups. Just I don't know, it just doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't make sense when you're there. You just don't see it, and this was one of those times. So I rushed it a little bit. Like everything about it, there were just like little things that were off. So I got up and, I wasn't happy, not necessarily because of the dropping 4 points, but because it just wasn't shot the way that I wanted it to. But it was over. It was done. Can't take it back. So now we waited to tally everything up. And that's really, I was pretty anxious because I had not been really keeping track of the scores that much. If at all. I really didn't know where I was standing. I did know that I had worked my way up, obviously, and again, you hear things from people and this and that. But I was really anxious to see where I finished. So let's take a look at the leaderboard and let me see where I finished. And this is it. This is the final standings. Obviously, it's just a cropped up version of it, but just so you can see what happened. And if you look here, look at that. I kept my head. I shot the best I could. I just tried to keep a good mental attitude. Not saying I was perfect. I had my moments. But, even after tripping, shooting horrible on that first match and being, darn near at the bottom of everybody, I just shot my game. And I ended up working my way up. Now, in the high masters, I worked my way up to 34th. There were a couple, either masters or marksmans or something. I think there was 2 other people that shot a score better than me. So really, I finished in 36th place out of 130 something people, I think it was. But you know what? That was a huge victory for me. Like huge, huge victory. And again, I knew I wasn't going to be first place. In fact, I will just tell you here, Matt up here with first place only dropped 6 points on the entire 3-day shooting. PJ dropped 7 and Norm dropped 8. I think Tracy dropped 9, maybe 10. So, I mean, kudos to them. Like, that is just amazing shooting. I want to say somewhere down here with David and Eric, that was around 14 points. So the top 10, it was tight. Very tight, very, very good shooting from all these people. And then you have, everything from there down to where I was. And I think I ended up dropping 20... Let's see, it would have been 9. I don't know. I'd have to look, but I want to say it was 20-something points, 29 or something. Anyway, it was a lot more than I wanted, but that's beside the point. The point is I worked my way back up, and this just helps reinforce that, one, I do belong out there. I do know what I'm doing, but I'm human. I make mistakes. Nobody's going to judge me for it. And, that's just kind of how I am. So it felt really good. Like I was so excited to look at this leaderboard, to see the people that are up here and to know that I made my way up to 36th place. And, I did it without worrying too much. I won't say I didn't worry, but without worrying too much. So I do want to show off though. I mean, I don't feel it's right to not show some of the other awards. Matt is an incredible guy, great shooter, just, him and his wife, Gwen, are really, really good people. So I want to show him. And then on the TR side, we have Ian Clem, who is just an amazing shooter, amazing competitor. And he ended up winning on the TR side for an amazing 5th time. And that's that's just craziness. So big shout out to them, and I just want to show a little bit of video with some of the highlights from the banquet. Before we get to the banquet, I just want to show you. This is my team. So on the left is Mike, and then Brian in the light blue, myself, and then Chris in the gray. Our fifth team member, unfortunately, had to get on the road rather quickly, so he wasn't able to be there. But big shout out to Renee for being on the team as well. But this is a very proud gold medal for us. Did we win like all of it? Did we win in aggregate? No, but this gold medal meant a lot, and we're very, very happy with it. So let's go ahead and head over to the banquet. So there you have it. That is Long Range Nationals. It was an awesome event. The weather couldn't have been better. We were in anywhere from the low 80s to, I think it got to like 91 on one day, but that wasn't even that bad because it was in the afternoon. It was an awesome event. Love seeing everybody out there. It's really well run. Ben Avery is an amazing facility. If you've never shot it and have the opportunity to shoot an event there, I highly recommend it. I love traveling to Phoenix for the event. And as always, I just try to show the way it is. That's how I approach things. I hope people are able to learn from it. I know I've gotten a lot of questions since winning the mid-range. What did you use for this? What did you use for that? I will be doing another video just showing what my gear was at the Nationals, and hopefully that helps answer some of those questions as well. But as always, I appreciate watching. I appreciate the support, and just really grateful for what I get to do, and really appreciate everything. So you guys have a good one. We'll talk soon.